We're back with another Friday fun ramblings and rants. This time it's brought to you by Chili the dog. Some days I don't know if I'm taking him for a walk or he's taking me for a walk. Anyway, this episode's sure to be action-packed. We're going to cover some philosophical things today. I've been reading some books lately, and when I say I've been reading some books or articles, it's just I'm watching TikTok. So there's this Russian author named Alexei Yurchek, and he wrote this book called Everything is Forever Until It Was No More. And I'm probably butchering his name, but so the book is about hypernormalization. And hypernormalization is a concept where society thinks that everything is changing or collapsing around them, yet they feel powerless to do anything or make any sort of change or adjustment, even though they see the world collapsing around them. And he's a Russian dude, so he catalogs and outlines different stories about how the USSR and Soviet Union went through dramatic changes in society when it migrated in the 70s and early 80s. More specifically, how the citizens knew that everything was changing, but they were completely powerless or just continued to live in the exact same ways, doing the exact same old things that they'd done prior to the change. And then in 2016, an American dude, Adam Curtis, steals the idea to an extent and comes up with this documentary called HyperNormalization. And he catalogs and talks about how modern societies are coping with dysfunction, albeit societal or political, by clinging on to these historical narratives. So how is hypernormalization relevant towards the auto industry as we face particularly challenges in changes in technology, economic changes, or just the way consumers are buying today? Well, just like the late Soviet Union, many industry players recognize that the game is changing, yet we do nothing. We continue to chase old false narratives, and we continue to operate as if nothing's going to change and these old ways of doing things are going to persist for forever. So let's apply some hypernormalization thoughts as if they might apply to the auto industry today. Number one, the dealership model versus direct-to-consumer sales. So what's changing? Well, Tesla and others have proven that the direct-to-consumer model is viable, and consumers are more comfortable buying cars online with minimal interaction. So hyper-normalization in action here. Traditional dealerships continue to operate as if franchise laws and consumer needs will keep them relevant for forever. So the reality check is some states are rolling back franchise laws and requirements, and consumers are changing their buying behavior. Many OEMs, albeit locally and globally, are exploring direct-to-consumer models. If there's not adaptation, dealers are at the risk of being left behind. How about EV transition versus the ICE dominance? EV adoption is increasing, government regulations are tightening, and many large auto manufacturers have set some aggressive EV targets. So hyper-normalization in action. Many OEMs and dealers think that they can rely on ICE vehicle sales for decades, even as mandates and infrastructure changes and investments are right in front of us. And even though EV customer demand and change or infrastructure is slowing down and plateauing a little bit, companies that fail to prepare for an EV-heavy future, i.e. service-based models, direct-to-consumer models, or ways of satisfying that consumer, or training for your salespeople, may find themselves struggling at a tipping point when that happens or begins to accelerate. How about inventory management and pricing? Digital retailing, data-driven pricing models, build to order. These are all seemingly replacing or going to replace the high inventory, high margin deals that we used to do. So hyper-normalization in action. Many dealers continue to look at stocking large amounts of inventory and look at putting market adjustments or accessories on every single car to maintain margin. Even as consumers push back against these markup games, nitrogen in your tires, great, I love it. But if I don't want it, take it off. So what's the reality check here? Well, the reality check is stack them deep and sell them cheap is no longer as relevant as it used to be. The boss is gone, the deal is on. I love those puns and sayings, but if the COVID era taught us anything, it's that leaner inventory concepts and pricing models that are more relevant to the consumer just work a lot better. All right, what's next? How about automotive software, data, and artificial intelligence, AI, everyone's favorite buzzword right now, the most misused, overused buzzword. Let's go. Have you ever been to a dealership website lately? Most dealers are still heavily reliant on plugins and scripts on their website. Trade-in tool, here a payment calculator, there a digital retailing application. It's the 15th of the month and sales aren't what we need them to be, so let's dump 10 grand into paid search and do an email blast to our entire database. HyperNormalization in action? Well, I don't like getting those emails. I just bought a couple weeks ago and I'm still getting those emails. I don't like seeing that the car that I bought is a lot less money than it was 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 6 months ago. Now, I'm jaded because I work in this industry and I know these practices are common and happen all the time, but many customers don't. So that model is collapsing rapidly. And there's a lot of great, progressive, smart dealers that are ahead of the game right now when it comes to those things and optimizing based on sending communications that might be more one-to-one or hyper-personalized based on data management strategies or the ability to ingest and normalize and standardize all data from all different providers and deploy that data at scale across whatever medium or choice you want. Analytics, sure. Marketing, great. Inventory, even better. Let's do it. So the real question is, which one are you going to be? Are you going to adapt and change? Or are you just live in the comfort of hyper-normalization and the reality that things are fine? Because everybody wants change until they have to change, right?